We are live. Let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Tonight we have Madi Hendry joining us. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's finally warm, so I'm like enjoying it, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I know the sun finally was shining today in Nashville, so it's a great day.
I left work today with because it was still cold this morning when I went into work. And so I had like my winter coat on and I walked out and I was just like, out of pure habit, I was just like, put my coat on and I was like, it's like 70 degrees outside. I don't need this, but.
You're like, I could go without it.
Right. But it was also like 40 degrees when I went to work this morning. So it's like, I needed it.
Mm-hmm. I know. It fluctuates so much during this time of the year. Yeah,
it does. It really does. It's crazy, but you know, it's better than living up north. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly. At least it was 60 degrees today. So
right. So first off, I want to congratulate you on graduating and also releasing a new single. So you're kicking off 2025 with a bang there.
Thank you. Yes, we're going full force for it.
Right. And so how long have you been in Nashville?
I grew up here. So, I grew up in Franklin and then I moved to Nashville about 4 years ago, whenever I went to Belmont. And then I've just lived here. Besides for like 6 months, I lived in LA. But other than that, I've lived in Nashville for 4 or 5 years, but growing up only 30 minutes away, I feel like it's part of who I am. So, yeah.
Fair. You know, I had to make that distinct difference, like point out the difference, because I feel like a lot of people that are like from and actually like grew up in Nashville be like, no, you grew up in Franklin. That's completely different.
Yeah. No one's gone on to me yet for saying I grew up in Nashville, but being in Franklin. But the day that it happens, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah. It happens to me all the time. Like anytime somebody asks me where I grew up, I say Chicago, but I grew up in the south suburbs, like 40 minutes from Chicago. And it's like, if I tell you where I'm really from, you're not going to have a clue where I'm from. So
yeah, exactly. And that's like why when you meet someone, you're like, I'm from Nashville, because no one's going to know unless you're really like from here or know the area that it's Franklin. So yeah.
Fair. Very fair. So you said something that kind of piqued my interest off the top, that you lived in LA for about 6 months.
Yes, I did.
Was that a moment of just like pure curiosity, or did you go out there for like an internship or something, or?
Yeah. So whenever I went to Belmont, they have this program where you can study in LA for a semester. And I kind of was dabbling with the idea of doing pop music at the time. And also I obviously only grew up like 20 minutes from where I was going to college. And so I just decided on a whim to kind of go out there for the semester. So I was out there from August to December. So however many months that is. But it really was out of pure curiosity to see what doors might open. And if I liked LA, if I liked living by the beach and stuff. But I think it was really hard to live out there for 6 months or 5 months or whatever it is. But I think it's just because I'm so far away from my family. And then it ended up, they don't do a lot of country music out there. And that's kind of what it like took going away to realize that I wanted to do country music full time. So, yeah.
It's like, I mean, California does have country music, but I feel like LA as a city is more pop rock, and like that's kind of where it leans. Like if you go outside of LA, I'm sure you'll find country music all over the place.
Yeah,
but like
sure.
In the city, it's just kind of like, nah, I don't think you're going to find it. So
yeah. And it's during my time there, I met mainly pop writers and indie writers. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
your reason for going to LA and doing that, I'm guessing it was like an internship or it was like a study away
Yeah.
program.
Yeah, it was a study abroad, but it
Yeah.
wasn't abroad. So it was like a study abroad program. And then I had to have an internship while I was out there. So I interned with an artist management company. And so then I did classes online. So it was like a very immersive experience. And I mean, it was fun for a little bit. And then also I loved being by the beach, um, big beach girl. So yeah, and I was thinking maybe because there is some country in Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
They have like the like coastal cowgirl theme
Yeah.
going there. And I was like, maybe I could play into that. But like I said,
Right.
I just think you have to go where the doors are opening, and pretty much every door was opening in Nashville. So
Nice. Nice.
maybe one day I would go out there again. But now I say if like I sign a publishing deal, I would go out there
Sure.
for just like a week at a time, not to live out there.
Right, right, right. I will say I admire the fact that it seems like, although you said it was on a whim, your choice to go on this study abroad program feels a lot more thought out than when I went and took my internship in college. Like I took my internship because I hated my roommate and I needed to get out of there, and that was the only way I could do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess, I mean, I decided in like March that I would go in August. So it was very much like I had a friend who lived in LA. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you know what? We're going to go visit her. And I wasn't expecting much from California, and I'd never been growing up. And whenever I went, I loved it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I loved it for like the weekend that I was there. And so it kind of was on a whim because I visited her and then I was like, let's move here. But yeah,
Nice.
it was
I
really
love it.
fun.
I love it. So growing up in Franklin, I'm guessing music was just kind of always around, or how did you kind of get into it?
Yeah, so my dad, he went to Belmont and he worked in the music industry some, like before I was born. And he kind of always sang growing up. And that's how I was introduced to it because he played guitar. And like instead of like lullabies before bed, I guess, he like started playing all these songs that he wrote with his friends from college. And then I was like, I want to learn the guitar. So from the time that I was really young, I had the passion to like write songs and play guitar. And so then they put me in lessons, and I started taking the guitar lessons, and um, I just never like went back. Like my parents said I was always humming and writing. And then once the guitar was put in my hands, then it was nonstop. So I grew up, and some of my family is musical, but it kind of was just like my dad showed me, and he's like the primary influence on my music. So
Nice. And was he primarily playing like country music, or what was he playing at the time?
he worked in the Christian music
Mm.
industry. And so he loved to write like Christian songs, but then also he would write just like really silly and like weird songs. Like just honestly, he could make like a kid's album.
Mm.
And so it was like perfect for growing up because they were really like silly, funny songs. So like the first song that I wrote was called The Frog Song. And it was like me finishing my dad's song basically.
Nice.
Yeah, so just really random stuff. He never really wrote songs very seriously,
Mm.
but his mom did some like Christian stuff. So yeah.
Nice. So did you ever do anything with the frog song?
Um we we have not. It's my favorite like party trick. I'm like, you guys have to hear this song I wrote whenever my dad and I like wrote it whenever I was like in fourth grade.
Yeah.
Um and his friends started it in college. I mean, maybe one day if I decided to like put out a little kids album, but I don't know. It'd be a really like funny thing to do.
Mm.
Maybe if it went like viral, I should post it and just like see how it does because it's like kind of a morbid song for fourth grade, but it's like
Sure.
it's really funny. Yeah.
Nice. I feel like that would be a whole genre for an album right there. Just like these happy, upbeat, kid sounding songs, but very just like the lyrics are very dark and morbid and
Yeah.
like not like seriously dark and morbid, but like morbid for like the mind of a fourth grader.
Yeah, I know. Well, because the first line is like, I once had a frog and his name was Fred until I stepped on him and now he's dead. Squish, squish, squish. Um, and then we just do that for like all these different animals. And so it's morbid, but like I was in fourth grade and just like loving the silliness of it. So, and those are the songs that I went to bed to,
Nice.
which is why I guess I write songs in my sleep because that's what I was taught growing up.
I love it. I love it so much. Um, and so obviously getting brought up on music through your dad and like learning, did he taught you how to play music or did you kind of learn in school?
He taught me like the very basics of guitar, like literally like four chords, and then they put me in guitar lessons. And from then on, I got put with this fantastic guitar teacher, and I was with her for years. And she's the one who taught me like everything, and I really liked her because she let me play Taylor Swift and didn't make me do the classic like I don't know, music theory stuff.
Yeah.
But I would say he taught me the basics. And then once he saw that like I needed someone else, sometimes you just don't listen the best to your dad.
Yeah.
So I needed, and she was great. And I don't know, from then on, I then went on to do like sports and guitar. And then
Yeah.
my parents eventually were like, you have to choose one or the other. Cause then I started voice lessons and a cappella and all the things. So yeah, that's,
Fair.
yeah.
Fair. What was the sport of choice?
I played soccer growing
Okay.
up.
Nice.
Yes. So
Is that big in Nashville? I mean, I'm guessing it's pretty big since you guys got an MLS team, but
yeah. Well, yeah, the MLS team is very new, but there's a big hub of soccer,
Mhm.
in Franklin and Brentwood.
Mhm.
Yeah, I started playing. My dad was my soccer coach, so my dad is just like in every part of my life, I guess. But yeah, so I started playing in fifth grade, and then I ended up quitting sophomore year because my voice lessons got to be too much with
Right.
soccer. So yeah,
I dig
but
it. I love it.
yeah, but I
Oh,
knew from the get go that I wanted to do music. And so my parents were like, it doesn't make sense for you to, I don't know, they let me choose. But in the end, I was like, it just makes sense to do music.
for
So
sure. You know,
yeah.
it's just like you know where your passion is, and well, why
Mhm.
like yes, I'm sure soccer was fun to a degree, but when like
Yeah.
one's taking away from the other, where's your
Hmm.
real passion lie? So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
it's
And I just, I was never like the best soccer player. It's just like a very fun thing, like with your friends.
mm,
But like I felt very like seen through my music teachers.
mm,
And like just sometimes you're better at one thing than you are the other. And I was a lot better at music than I was at soccer. So,
right,
and
right,
I knew I wasn't going to play soccer in college. So, yeah.
fair. And I feel like sophomore year is kind of like that right time to be like, okay, I'm out. See you guys later. You know,
Hmm.
you're not getting into like the upper like okay you've been with the team 3 years now like we need you can't quit on us type stuff.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so
I know. And I did school and travel. And so it is just like a very time consuming thing where I'm like, I could be using this time to like go to rehearsals for other
mhm,
things. So,
right.
yeah.
And so was it after high school that you started like writing recording your own stuff or how does that kind of start coming into the mix?
Um, I started writing very seriously in high school. I always had been writing, but then I attended my freshman year of high school. I attended the Country Music Hall of Fame songwriting
Mm,
camp, and it was like a week in Nashville where we wrote a song, and then like it basically was like seminars every day. But it was a really fun program, and I met like a lot of other people who wanted to do music.
okay.
And so that's like where the passion really, like I saw that I could do it for a living.
Mhm.
And so after freshman year of high school, I started writing a lot. And then I was trying to find a producer for a while. And then I finally found one in my junior year of high school, and then I started recording around then. So, but my first
Nice.
release was in 2021. So I think that was my senior year of high school. So,
Gotcha.
been at it for a while.
Nice. Hey, you know what though? Like it, I feel like 2021, if you're going to start releasing music, that was probably like a really solid choice of time because it's kind of right on the backside of the pandemic, and you know,
Yeah.
you, you kind of like, I don't know if that had played into anything, like as far as like messing up any release plans, but I'm assuming it probably didn't, right?
No, no. At the time, I was like still figuring out like what PRO I wanted to go with, and I was figuring out how to put out a song independently. So 2020, it didn't really affect much music plans because I honestly didn't even start co-writing until I moved to Nashville. And like, honestly, my sophomore year of college is whenever I started very consistently co-writing.
Mm-hmm.
So 2020 didn't mess up many things for me. But yeah, it was definitely a good time to start releasing music because it was like very transformative, like couple years. I was going from high school to college. And
Right.
so I
Right.
had people from my hometown and new friends both
Right.
listening. And
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of caught it at the right time where I feel like a lot of people went into the pandemic with in two different phases where they had either just released a bunch of music and haven't had a chance to record, or they were getting ready to record.
mm-hmm.
And then the
Yeah,
pandemic kind of shut everything down. So I feel like you kind of came in with like, okay, the third choice, I have music, but we're going to wait and kind of see how things play. So,
yeah, yeah. And that's it. Like the producer that I was using at the time lived 5 minutes down the road. It was like a family friend. So, and it was just like his house studio. So it was very chill.
yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, from 2021, I started like releasing like 2 to 3 releases a year. So it was like a very slow intro into like how to release music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
What was that learning curve like? I know you said you would kind of like really took your time and just kind of to figure out how you wanted to go about it. Was there like somebody like giving you information, or were you just doing like, were you very research driven and like doing your own research?
I was very much research driven. I was like joking with my parents. I was like, this is like a one woman show currently because
Yeah.
you really like I didn't have any mentors in the music industry at the time. And so I was figuring out how to do it all by myself. And that's why I had heard of BMI and I was like, you know what? I read through like all the different PROs. And I ended up going with BMI. And it was just like I was looking at what each one could offer and then I like used DistroKid for releasing, but I went through like CD Baby. So yes, all that to say, it was very much like I was just like Googling how to do
Yeah.
these things. So
Nice. And I mean, I think that's how this like upcoming generation of musicians that are like 2, 3, 4 years into their career, kind of in the similar boat that you are. I feel like that's how a lot of them are doing it. Like they're just like Google, like
yeah,
we'll figure it out. Like I don't necessarily need to go to school to learn how to Google something to figure it
yeah,
out. So,
I know. And that was what I was shocked whenever I went to Belmont, a lot of people were like, so how did you get your music out? Or like, so how did you join a PRO? I was
mhm.
like, I just Googled it. I just figured it out. But then you're able once I figured out how to do it, then like a lot of my friends started like actually wanting to release music.
Mhm.
Because at the time, whenever we were freshmen in college, not that many people were putting out music. And so I was able to help some people figure it out too.
Nice. Would you study in Belmont?
Songwriting.
Okay.
So got my BS in songwriting and then a minor in music business.
Nice. So you
Yeah.
kind of came in ahead of the curve a little bit on that one.
Yeah. Having already had music out was definitely beneficial because people could like in the songwriting program, I could just tell them my name and they could go to Spotify. But yeah, but then also everyone, you come in ahead of the curve and then, uh, I don't know, like I was telling my songwriting professor at my graduation that I thought I was ready for a publishing deal my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to drop out if I get a publishing deal. And then I look back at what I was writing sophomore year and I'm like, those songs pale in comparison to what I'm writing nowadays. And so it's like, it's true, you just get better with time, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
It, it's one of those things where, hey, at least you had those aspirations at that young of an age where it's like, you know what, you were ready to make that commitment. Like if somebody was going to come in and give you this offer, you were ready to pay the price for it.
yeah, yeah, I know. And I know everything happens for a reason because I was fully I was like, I will drop out of college for this. But then
Mm-hmm.
also, I've just even been having more and more meetings recently, and people are like, don't take a publishing deal just to have a publishing deal. Like, you want to make sure that you have like a team that actually believes in you.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time, I was just like going to take anything because it meant having like a name
Yeah.
like, behind me. But I don't know.
There's a lot of publishing like I was watching this podcast that Jelly Roll did not too long ago where he was talking about like some of the shady publishing deals that are out there that Nashville kind of throws, like some of these shadier companies throw out, and
Yeah,
it's just like, dude, that is so jacked up. Like,
I know.
yeah.
Like they own so much of your music. Which is why I say like I think if I had taken a deal and been like very naive whenever I was 19, like
Mm-hmm.
I before I took the copyright classes at Belmont, before I had all these like mentors now in the industry like helping me figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
I could have gotten into a very bad deal. So
Mm-hmm. Could have gotten into a 95.5 deal. They could have
yeah.
financed your first album, and you'd
Mhm.
still be paying that sucker off right now.
I
So,
know. I know. And that's where I like the independence right now to be able to release what I want and when I want. And I
mhm.
know like when the right team comes along, like it'll feel right and it'll all happen when it's supposed to happen. But right now I like having like control of everything.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, hopefully one day we'll get like booking agents and managers. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. It's one of those things. That's what we're actively trying to do. Is we're trying to, as far as live and amplified, we're trying to fix the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be the PG way we say that one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons to it.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, um, you just released your latest single. What's kind of the story behind this? Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Rinse and Repeat. And I wrote it with two of my friends, Morgan Lee Powers and Blair Albert. Um,
Oh, I love Blair.
yeah, she's awesome. And actually, it was a very last minute co-write. Morgan and Blair were supposed to write, and I hadn't met Blair at the time. And Morgan texted me like an hour before and was like, "Can you like come write?" And I had class, so I had like 2 hours to write, and then I had to go to class.
Mhm.
Um, and I was taking guitar lessons. At Belmont at the time, and I was asking my songwriter or no, my guitar teacher. I was like, "Can you teach me some like funky chords?" And so he gave me this like set of chords that it sounded really interesting, and I just like was playing it one night, and I was like, "This sounds like a song called Rinse and Repeat," and I don't know what that means. And then I was like, maybe it's about like going back to like the same type of guy. And so then I wrote the first verse of it, and then I think I was really trying to overcomplicate the chords. And so I went into that writing room and I had the first verse and half chorus. Um, and then Morgan is like really good at guitar. And so she was able to kind of figure out where all the chords should go and in what order of it. And then the song kind of just fell out. It's a song about going back to the same type of guy, just like the deceptive, sweet guys that are actually not that good in hindsight. So, but yeah, I honestly, I tell people with the instrumentation of it, it's like the most like Americana bluegrassy country I've ever gone because it has like harmonicas and mandolins on it. And that's kind of the route that I have been wanting to go recently. I'm
Yeah.
more acoustic focused. And so like I'm like this just it feels so me. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like we're finally all these years later tapping into our sound.
Mm.
So
That's cool. Do you think um the more acoustic style is to try and help you play out a little bit more, because I feel like doing like more acoustic stuff makes it a little bit easier to get out and tour by yourself without having to have like a full band with you.
Yeah, I think that. And then also, it just like when you have all the different like string instrumentation, it sounds so beautiful to me.
Hmm.
Like Flatland Cavalry, um, the Texas country type of stuff.
Hmm.
I just have been loving it so much recently. And so I'm like, I want to make music that I like to listen to.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what inspired the instrumentation.
Right. Sounds like you need to come out to Texas then. That's what I'm hearing out of this one.
Yes, I'm coming in April and I'm
Nice.
so excited. I've never been. So we're going
Nice.
to Austin.
Okay. Nice. Well, Austin is like California, Texas, but
I hear it's like Nashville, but a little bit of LA in there. So
yeah, it's like, I mean, Austin's cool. Like it's definitely got its own thing going on, but it's got a cool live scene, and then like a lot of the suburbs around it, like the Franklins, if you will,
yeah.
around Austin are like what to me that's where like the real heart and soul of the city is. It's like you go out to like New Braunfels, they got a really cool scene. You go down to like Bastrop, they've got a really cool scene. Um, like Green Hall is like a legendary place out here, so it's just like
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the first thing about Texas, but like I want to come down there and like just tour around Austin because I've heard people say like just put a pin in Austin and tour circular around it. Like
Mhm.
and you'll end up at a lot of good places. But
Yeah,
I'm just gonna take
honestly,
a couple days. So
right. If you really want to take a good swing at it, my best advice is fly into Dallas and fly out of San Antonio and then drive in between, because
okay.
you're basically going to jump on 35 and take 35 all the way down, and you'll hit probably about 10 to 12 really cool cities that have a strong music scene,
Yeah.
and you'll get a wide taste of what Texas country music is all about. So,
Yeah. I know. I need to do that. And then maybe get some shows booked
mhm,
there. Make it make it a
yeah,
full trip. But
right.
yeah.
And if you're feeling a little culty, go down to Bryan College Station. Sorry, Josh. My buddy Josh hates it when I do that, but you know, it's like those Aggies, man. They're a little bit of a cult down there, but
I have some friends who went to Texas A&M and
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I get
yeah.
it.
It's pretty funny though. But yeah, no, Texas is really cool. It's if that's something you're like really looking into and you want to like get influenced, like
Yeah.
Dallas to San Antonio, that's a pretty good run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's some good advice because I, especially even this year, made a goal to just go on the road more. So I'm hoping to get some shows booked just
Nice.
outside of Tennessee. So,
Yeah.
but Texas is the one that I know we need to go to.
Right.
So,
Nice. I love it. So how often are you playing right now? Are you playing pretty consistently, or are things still kind of down because of like winter and all that stuff?
yeah, I'd say I play about once a week out, but I'm writing pretty much every day. So I feel like it ebbs and it flows. Sometimes I'm playing 2 to 3 shows a week, and then sometimes with only a couple writes, and then sometimes it's a write every day, and then a show once a week. So yeah, I made a rule for myself that like if something comes up last minute, like a show where I get offered, like I'll always say yes. So
Hmm.
just, I mean, if they come up, then I normally do them. So
I love it. Love
yeah.
it. So with rinse and repeat out now, what's kind of the plans moving forward? Are you already like looking at the next single? Are you looking at a bigger project? What's kind of the plan?
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the next single. Um, I mean, I definitely need to, I think this next one, we're going to create a marketing plan and really like blow up the social media because this with rinse and repeat, I tried kind of like the not over the top where people hate the first 2 lines of the verse because that's all I hear or the
Mhm.
chorus. But it didn't like place on editorials. So I'm still just figuring out like how I want to like authentically promote my music. So
Hmm.
planning the next one, I think we're just doing singles for now. I would love to do an album at some point, but also it's we live in the singles world currently, so trying to trying to just plan those out. I have about four that I think I might that's the most I've ever like planned on releasing in a year. I
Hmm.
normally only release like 2 to 3, but I know this year like every 6 weeks or
Hmm.
so we need to be releasing.
Oh
So,
yeah. Especially now that you're kind of out of school and don't have to worry about that. It's like
mhm.
it now's the time because you're not going to get this time back. And at some point you're going to realize, oh dang, I've got student loans to pay back. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was telling you earlier. Just like I'm working 2 jobs, and then if you count music as my third job,
Hmm.
we're working 3 jobs currently, just to make enough money to like support ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really awesome having so much time because
Mhm.
people ask how post grad has been, and I think everyone expects me to go through an identity crisis. I'm like, guys, I feel like my brain is so quiet. I have
Hmm.
never had this many ideas, as many like good songs being written in a week. Um, it's been very good for like my mental health being out of school, because I was very much like I have to get A's and I have
Yeah.
to write this 12-page paper and make it perfect. And so now I can just like sit there with my thoughts and like actually write a song, and have the time to like really think through every single lyric. So
100%.
yeah.
Do you did you find that transition like out of school into the quote unquote real world? Did you find that transition kind of hard, or was it just like a kind of like a seamless, okay, we're going from school and now we're working 2 jobs and doing music?
It definitely has been, I feel like a seamless transition, honestly, because I lived off campus. And so it's not like I had to move off campus someplace else once I graduated. So I'm still like in the same apartment that I was before. And I still have like all the same friends that go to school. And the only thing that really changed is I don't go to class, but
Mm-hmm.
I nanny. So I pick some kids up from school. So like every morning I write and then I can go pick the kids up from school, and then afterwards I go to a show or just do something random. So
Nice.
the schedule's been very good, and then I also work a retail job on the weekends. So
Nice.
yeah,
Staying busy. I love it.
I know. And with a retail job, it supports all the clothes that I can buy for my shows. So I'm
Nice.
able to justify it. I'm like, I get a really good discount on clothes that look cute on stage. So
Nice. How much of that check goes back into buying the clothes? Like, are you pretty much putting that entire check back
oh,
in?
the entire check
Fair.
and more. So
Fair.
yeah, it's not a good thing for my bank account, but for my shopping heart, it is very good.
Fair.
Mhm.
I bet that's that your retail job loves to hear that. It's like, oh, we're gonna get that paycheck anyways. So
I know, exactly. They're like not surprised when I buy something every shift. I'm like, so sorry.
sucks to suck. Oh well. Oh no, that's really cool. Oh, so kind of moving forward, obviously staying busy with work, upcoming releases, shows, all that fun stuff. When you do get 10 minutes to yourself, what do you like to do to decompress outside of like music and whatnot?
I I go on a lot of walks currently. And like the time that I think the reason why my like brain has been so quiet post grad and it was a seamless transition
Mhm.
is because um I like love to go to the gym, do that, and then also doing my quiet time. My faith is really important to me, so like reading my Bible. Um, those are just things, and then also hanging out with my friends. My roommate is one of my best friends, so in those 10 minutes, normally I'm chatting with her. So
Fair,
yeah.
fair. Nice. And who are you listening to right now? Like thinking like Nashville, like up and coming Nashville artists. Who are you listening to right now that's really got your ear?
Up and coming artist.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how up and coming you'd consider him, but I've been loving Vincent Mason's
Mhm.
new EP. Um, Train of Thought, like the harmonicas on that are just fantastic. I've been loving them. I'm trying to think. I listened to just like a lot of like Zach Top, like Flout and
Yeah.
Calvary stuff. So, and then obviously my friend Morgan Powers that I write with a lot. I listen to a lot of her stuff too.
Mhm. I've been really enthralled and interested in the Zach Top and oh, who is it? Everybody thinks is his dad, Alan Jackson, right? Or
Oh, I think so. I'm not sure, but I've seen some TikToks about this
yeah,
before. Yeah.
it's like I don't go on TikTok a lot, but like when I do, that always pops up, and I'm like, it is the most. I don't listen to a whole lot of Zach Top, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of like that is the most interesting thing in the world right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I know. I just see like Parker McCollum and Zach Top on my For You page. So yeah.
it's one of those deals where it's just like the conspiracy theories are endless, and it's like I love it. It's so fun. So
I know. I know. I don't know how far they've gone with it, but I'll just say I love
I
Zach.
was they've gone so far as to lay out Alan Jackson's tour the year Zach Top was born and coincided it with he had a tour 9 month or tour stop in his hometown 9 months before he was born.
Wow,
Like that's
that's
literally
dedication.
how far it's gone. So it's
Okay, I haven't gone that far into it then.
no, it's
Really
just
funny.
like it's something that I see on like Instagram and TikTok, and I'm like, I don't know why I care so much, but it's just it's interesting. So
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I bet he has like what from what I've seen, he grew up with all his siblings in a bluegrass band.
hmm
So I don't know how they would debunk
right,
that, but
yeah, it happens. So
yeah.
but I really appreciate your time. I really enjoyed this conversation. If anybody wants to check out your music, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
Yes, my music is on Spotify and Apple Music, anywhere you stream music. And then if you want to follow me, my Instagram is where I post pretty much everything. And it's Madi Hendry Music. So Madi, that's how you spell Maddie. And then Hendry music.
Always appreciate it. Well, Instagram's how I found you, so that's the best place.
Perfect.
So yeah,
Yes, yes.
everybody asks me like because recently over the last 6 months or so, I've been trying like really vehemently to find like new musicians because I feel like towards the middle of last year I was got into not a rut, but like a position where I was just having a lot of the same people on. I
Yeah.
was like, I need to get new people on, and so this year it's been like hardcore. Like
Yeah.
we're getting new people on, so
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I know. It's always a good experience to just like practice also just talking with someone else as like a newer musician. So
mm, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. But one of the things that we like to do as we wrap up, as kind of like the last closing thought, what's a piece of advice you have for the young musicians out there?
I would say to believe in yourself and don't let anyone else alter your dreams
Mm,
because you can do it.
perfect.
That's it.
Absolutely perfect. Short, sweet, and to the point. I love it.
Yeah, I
So,
know. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Live and Amplified's Indie Fusion podcast. If you'd like to support anything Live and Amplified does, please follow us on all of our social media platforms at Live, the letter N, Amplified. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, any of them, all of them, at Live, the letter N, Amplified. And if you would like to buy any official Live and Amplified merch, you can do so at our merch shop. Link in the description below. Once again, thank you all. Have a great day.